like to call the meeting to order. First on the agenda, before we get into other things, I'd like to present a little plaque to Leslie Robbins. Leslie's last meeting is tonight. She, see, I told you that's how Leslie, it says, with deep appreciation for your leadership and commitment to the students and staff of the Littleton School District from the Littleton Board of Education. And we will miss her very much. Not sure I like doing that. Public input. Any public input? Very good. Sorry. Approval of the minutes of February 20th.
So
We just started, Greg. Second.
I agree.
Any errors, omissions, or corrections?
I'm okay.
Okay. Those in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I think we have to do the
Oh, the name, we've got Ann's on the phone to explain. And because she is on the phone and can't actually see us here, when we do any voting or anything, we have to give our full name. It's how we're voting, so that's what we're doing. Okay. You just came in, so you have no idea what you're voting on. We'll.
I'll abstain.
Okay.
Greg Cook abstain.
Okay.
Yeah, Manning.
Leslie Robbins.
Millie Nelson.
Ann Leggett.
Okay, thanks, Ian.
You're welcome.
Business report, review of the manifest is going around. You've seen it. And treasurer's report.
We did submit a treasurer's report last Friday. The treasurer did review it today, and had no comments or anything. The only notable items are, want to recognize receipts from Friends of Lakeway, $1,039 for a water bottle filling station. And we did receive the federal reimbursement for the CTC bond. It's still subject to 6.8% sequestration, but that's still a lot better than zero. So
It is.
we'll take the $65,000.
That's good.
Nothing other than that was at all notable. The year-to-date page is attached. So we're all good with that. All accounts are reconciled.
Thank you. We added something to the agenda tonight, and it's the JV girls basketball. Mr. Silas asked that maybe we could put you on the agenda for your achievements, and of course that's great. Do you have anything you would like to add, sir?
Congratulations. Girls basketball program is very strong, successful, and certainly we want to acknowledge you winning the tournament and wish you all the best, you and your coaches all the best. Practice hard going forward, train hard. I know many of you will be involved in other sports the rest of the year as well, and so good luck with those, but congratulations on the
I'd like to add too that I've known a lot of these young ladies since grade school, and every one of them are good students and good athletes, and you've stayed with it, and that shows, so thank you. Anybody want to say anything? Yeah?
I would say
Congratulations to the team.
And just offer to congratulations to the team. Sorry, Cal.
I just want to say that they were also recognized for their sportsmanship.
Oh, great.
And Littleton parents as well, and we conducted ourselves in a manner that all of the community members would be very appreciative and respectful.
Yeah, they're great bunch. Thank you.
Congratulations, you
Yeah.
guys. I recognize a lot of you from soccer, so very
Yeah,
nicely
that's
done.
right.
I'm not surprised you won a tournament at all, so very good job. So, got a
Keep
lot
up
of
the
heart.
good work, players and coaches both.
Yeah. And on a basketball note, we should note that our boys are in the finals on Friday. We played Groveton. Right? Yeah, Groveton. So that's exciting. So Littleton's going strong, don't we? Kelly, who are you cheering for?
Well,
Sorry.
You're gonna have to go
Longer than
into
that.
She'll be wearing my robe, I know. All right.
There you go.
Okay.
Good call.
All right. Well, thank you, girls,
Thank
for
you.
coming. Really do. Very proud of you.
Thanks, come back.
And your parents, thank you for coming.
Oh, wow, she got tall.
Yeah.
Yes.
She did, I haven't seen her.
Well, she is tall. The next group.
We got a good young core.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
Good program.
All right, review the treasurer's report. Are we all done with the treasurer's report? I mean, I kind of jumped in there with the basketball. The next thing on is unfinished business is the driver education update.
Actually, I'm gonna incorporate, I'm gonna talk a little bit about driver's education and also Lakeway in my report.
Okay.
So I'll just pass
So wait
on
for
those
your
two items
report.
now, just do them all together at the SOUP's report.
Fine.
That's okay.
Yep. We also have the Lakeway Elementary second floor report. We had a study done on the second floor of Lakeway. And we have that.
No, I'll talk about that in my report as well, please.
All right.
I'll just wait and do it all together.
Moving right along. Any new business that we need to talk about tonight that on the agenda? So, if not, any committee reports? Personnel, there isn't. Facilities?
We did have a meeting, and Hal had done a great job pulling together a lot of different needs. So I expect that'll get brought forward at some point, right?
Yeah,
Once it gets
still-
sort of prioritized, they're getting a little more information.
Still waiting for a little more information on some numbers with regard to projects. And one in particular, the gym roof, which
Mhm.
we've talked about for a long period of time.
We do have an RFP ready to go. George has worked on that, so once we get to the point where we're ready to act on that in the near future, we'll be able to move forward with that process.
Anything else?
No,
Okay. Policy, do you have anything on policy?
Nothing new there.
Okay. Well, then you're on.
Okay, back now to the driver's ed board. The board at the last meeting, we had a good presentation from Mike. We heard from some parents. We've been talking about driver's ed for a while. Joanne first brought this to my attention some time ago, back in the late summer, early part of the school year. We've done a lot of work on this. It's not easy to do. We've probably done it before now with some of the challenges we have with us not having an existing program, finding certified staff, individuals we have locally that are interested. But at this point, Tom has worked. He has developed a plan that involves, at least gives us a little more clarity that we can be looking at going forward with respect to the financial aspects of this. As with, I think, several things tonight that are in play, my recommendation will be that we act on this program, but not till after the vote next week, till our final budget numbers are known and our warrant articles, the status of those are known. Because we will be able to put together a program. I'm confident that in terms of the financial aspect of it, the cash inflow of money can cover the cost of the program. But with our budget, the way it works, we will have to think about how to fit the cost of the program into our budget. And we'll talk more about that once things are more clear after the vote next week. But I think quite a bit of work's been done on this. I think a lot of the questions that you asked, deservedly so, we'll be able to clarify. And again, I've stated it before, I'll state it again. The reason this is staying in the forefront is that, as I've stated before publicly, I think this is an important program, and I think if we can find a way to offer it to our kids and our community and keep it in our community, that's a good thing. I can't see that that's something that we wouldn't want to do. However, if it were really easy to do administratively and from a budgetary standpoint and all the other little details that go into it, we probably would have done it by now. So that's something that we still have some work to do, but we do need to get a decision made and some closure on that for everybody involved. Lakeway, second floor examination.
I just have one question about
yes.
this that was presented, if I could, please.
Sure.
I just wanted to ask about the hours for individual drive time and the hours, if we have 16 kids in a class, so, and someone will be observing and someone would be
Driving,
right?
Correct.
So you can kind of get one of each
Exactly.
during that time period?
Yeah.
yeah, Mike.
So it's 10 and 10. The state law mandates 10 and 6.
Yeah.
10 driving, 6 observation, but given the world we live in these days, we're going to have 2 kids in the car at all times.
Okay.
And so every kid will be getting 10 hours of driving and 10 hours of observation,
Okay.
assuming we go forward.
Okay.
Okay, Lakeway second floor, and again, we've talked about this at length. This is another topic that I think we've been working with, something we will continue to pay attention to. And again, as I've done in past board meetings, I have walked through the history of this just a little bit, and just to do that again briefly tonight. As the board knows, and I think those who have followed our discussions about this particular issue, that the second floor was added to Lakeway in the early 60s. After the building, shortly after it was built, quickly became insufficient in terms of space, which I think is very interesting. It's called the baby boom, right? The 50s were a period of large growth, and a lot of kids showed up, and the building was quickly not big enough, so the second floor was added in the early part of the 60s. In 2001, a study was done, conducted by a local architect firm, and the results of that study indicated that the second floor structure didn't meet code, and that was a report that was issued in 2001. There wasn't anything with that report that gave any kind of dire warnings or anything like that. It simply noted that this is the structure, this is the capacity, and this is the code. There was some renovation that happened at about that time, and we tried to investigate exactly what measures were taken then. But then you fast forward to October 2016, and George Broder, our at that time Buildings and Grounds Director, brought this study to our attention. And of course, it got our attention when we looked at that, and it was very clear that the structure, at least according to that report, issued some 15 years earlier, wasn't at the code. So we took some immediate steps, revisiting the architect who issued that report to confirm the findings. We did work with the state Department of Education, had one of their individuals come out and walk through the school and do a bit of a visual with us. We conducted another opinion of another architectural firm to validate or to expand upon the contents of the 2001 report, and basically that particular individual firm confirmed the findings of the 2001 report. And again, I think it's important to note that none of our investigation at this point indicated that there was any kind of immediate failure, that there was any kind of immediate concern, but it's still something that I think as a board that we wanted to make sure, as administration, we want to make sure we do our due diligence on. So we did a limited. We contracted again with a local architect to do a very limited study and to look at a few of the floor structures in that building, supporting the second story. The limited inspection indicated that none of the joists were showing any kind of fatigue, any kind of failure, and there wasn't any imminent concern at that point. And then we decided, of course, then getting that news, but deciding we really wanted a little more extensive look. And so over the February break, a number of ceiling tiles were removed so that a more complete look at all of the floor joists could be conducted. And again, the report back that I've shared earlier with the board is that there doesn't appear to be any sign of failure, any kind of distress. There's no indication that there's any kind of deterioration of that structure. So that's good news, but it's still something we're going to have to be vigilant with, certainly, and because obviously we want to ensure that kids are in a safe place to learn, adults are in a safe place to work, and so we'll continue our vigilance of that. And again, it's just another indication in a growing list of indications that we're going to have to take some measures to either drastically upgrade and fix that building or to replace it. And that's just kind of where we are at this point. But in the meantime, we have to take every step to make sure that it's comfortable to work in, it's comfortable to live, to learn in, and of course, most of all, that it's safe for everybody involved. Athletic success and programmatic success. We've celebrated a little of that already. We saw our girls JV team briefly and had a chance to congratulate them. As noted, the boys are playing in the state championship game here in a few days. The girls made it to the Final Four. They lost to the eventual champion, Centipede. And we have our Spirit Squad has made a very strong return to state competition. Placing second in the preliminary competition on Sunday, and will compete this coming Sunday for a state championship. So congratulations to all of those programs and many other programs I know that are supporting our kids and our kids are finding success with. Curriculum Advisory Council finally met after a couple of weather-related postponements. 26 teachers. The mix-up of people at the Curriculum Advisory Council are a mix of people. Mostly teachers, some support staff, administrators, and again, we met right here in this room. It was pretty full. We had 4 or 5 tables in here, but the results of that initial meeting was that we started to identify strengths that we see in our schools, challenges that we see facing our community. And then started this conversation about what should we prioritize, what should we really be working on. In the next meeting will be occurring March 21st. But the goal is out of this council is to work through a series of recommendations, and I think there's a number of things that have been going on in the district, really good things have been going on in the schools that haven't been formalized as of yet. But I think there's some fairly fundamental questions that need to be answered as we move forward. A plan. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. This is what it's going to take. This is how we'll support teachers and kids in the process. This is how we've involved the community. This is one of our community conversations. There will be other community conversations involving other stakeholders along the same lines, talking about the same types of topics. Those stakeholders being parents, community members, and of course students as well. So there's a number that'll be an ongoing work, and again we need to make some decisions. What are we going to do with competency-based education? Are we going to move forward with that? Are we going to make that part of what we do? Is that going to be an expectation? Is that something that's going to form the basis of how we construct curriculum, how we assess students, how we report how students have done? Socio-emotional learning. How are we going to support student learning there? How are we going to support teachers to support students in that vitally important part of the educational mix? Because it's both. It's academics, what students should know, but it also is their emotional well-being. Are they prepared? Are they supported? What can we do to enhance their learning experience? So there's plenty to do there. It's very rewarding, and again, I can't thank those involved enough for giving of their time and for giving of their time in the near future. And let's see, that's all I have. The document it's in your folder that has my report on it. Does have a link there, so you can access that link. You can see the feedback that we got from the participants in that particular activity. Universal design, I'm not going to say too much about that now. We'll be talking more about that in the near future. I've mentioned it almost every time in my report. I am pleased. I am pleased to see, though, this particular educational philosophy framework is something that's getting some traction in the state. It's on the agenda. I see for my superintendent's meeting, which will be here in Littleton, by the way, on Thursday with the North Country superintendent. So more on that as we move forward and the progress we're making with that. I'm done.
You are.
I'm done.
Thank you.
You bet.
If there's nothing else come before the meeting, we'll enter into non-public.
I'll make a motion to enter into non-public session under paragraph 2, section 3 of the RSA 91A:3 of the right to know law for
Personnel.
for number 2, the hiring of any personnel as a public employee, and number 3, matters that would adversely affect the reputation of any person other than a member of the board, taking with us the superintendent, and number 4, consideration of the acquisition, sale, and lease of real estate or personal property, taking with us the superintendent.
Yep.
Do we have number 2? Do we have nominations?
Yeah, he said number 2, I think.
I did say number
Yeah.
2.
He said number 2.
Yep. We
2,
do.
3, and 4, huh?
Yes, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay, thanks.
With assistant superintendent and business manager and Patty. Please.
Second?
All those in favor?
Cook, Greg Cook.
Jim Annan?
Leslie Robbins?
Nellie Nelson?
And Wiggett.
Okay. We're in non-public. Thank you.